Hey guys, today is August 24th, 2024. So in this video, I'm going to show you some connections with Kobe Bryant, the monkeypox, Year of the Monkey, California earthquakes, and I want to talk about tomorrow because we might have one tomorrow. The Golden Gate Bridge collapsing, the number 81. We've had numerous 81 connections recently as well as some other connections that I want to show you. But before I talk about that, I just want to mention that my previous video, I made a prediction about a large earthquake happening on August 18th, and I warned about Japan and maybe a tsunami happening as well. Well, we didn't have anything hitting Japan, but we did have a very large earthquake that day that I warned about. And it was off the coast on the water, but it was off the coast of Russia, a 7.0. So we had a big volcano erupting as well. And the time before that, when I made a prediction about a large earthquake and tsunami, it was for July 11th. Well, we didn't have a tsunami happening, but I did warn about one happening near the Cascadia or on the Cascadia fault line and warned for the West Coast. And guess what? We had the largest earthquake of the year on the date that I was looking at. But it was a 6.4, no tsunami threat. So I still find that all very interesting, and I don't think it's a coincidence. But anyways, I want to talk about starting with today. It's August 24th, and it's Kobe Bryant Day, because he wore the numbers 8 and 24. But it's also a double connection because August of 2024 as well, right? So recently, August 14th, we just had the World Health Organization declaring a public health emergency due to monkeypox. And we have some connections with Kobe Bryant and the monkeypox because his full name, Kobe Bean Bryant, equals 135. And when you look at the founding date of Kobe, Japan, to August 14th, the public health emergency for monkeypox, it's 135 years and 135 days since Kobe, Japan was founded. So Kobe Bryant, Bean Bryant equals 135 and 81, and this was also 8-1 on the Julian calendar. And by the way, Kobe's famous for scoring 81 points, the second highest by an NBA player behind Wilt Chamberlain. We also have more connections with Kobe and monkeypox because back in 2022, the outbreak began. The first case, they said, was on May 6th, on the 126th day. Well, 126 is the date that Kobe Bryant died in 2020. And it's also very interesting that the year of the monkey in 2028 begins on 126. So why are these connections with Kobe there? I don't know, but they're there, and it's for some reason. But anyways, when we look at Edward Jenner, the inventor of the smallpox vaccine, he also died on the same day, 126. So smallpox virus is related to monkeypox. Smallpox virus equals to a 1 in ordinal. And it was actually 201 years, 201 days after Edward Jenner died, inventor of the smallpox vaccine. And by the way, I found this information watching Joseph Aquaviva's video. And that's a very interesting connection because we also had Event 201 hosted by the John Hopkins Hospital and Bill Gates back on October 18th. But something else I wanted to look further into when I saw this image from Decoding with Cody. He showed some connections with monkeypox and the Golden Gate Bridge, right? And we had this movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, with the Golden Gate Bridge collapsing. And I want to get into some more connections with the Golden Gate Bridge in a little bit, but back to some connections with tomorrow, August 25th. We have very interesting connections with this date and Kobe Bryant because when you look at his birth date to tomorrow and reverse the dates, remember I said reversing the dates is just switching it, like putting the 825 over here, 823. And I continually do that as I see connections play out with it all the time. And we have 2,400 weeks exactly. That's the number Kobe wore, number 24. And when you do the date reversal thing again with the death date of Kobe, we get 3 years and 22 weeks, the skull and bones number. But this is also exactly 3 years and 22 weeks before the year of the monkey begins. And by the way, the number 322 does connect with 81. Kobe being Bryant equals 81. He scored 81 points, and because 322 is the 81st day in a non-leap year. So earlier this year, we had the Key Bridge collapsing at 1:28 a.m. Tomorrow's date leaves 128 days remaining, as bridge collapse equals 128. So besides the 81 connection that we have with Kobe, Golden Gate Bridge also equals 81. We have the 128 connection with Kobe because his birthday equals 128. Now I want to show you some other connections and why I think we may be seeing a large earthquake in California tomorrow, August 25th. So when we look back at the 2 largest earthquakes in California this year, we had a 4.9 and 5.2 earthquake. So these dates were exactly 88 days and 96 days after Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, his birthday, right? And he was in the movie San Andreas. And in Gematria, California equals 88, and San Andreas equals 96 in ordinal. But in reduction, California earthquake also equals 96. Now when we look at the date that the movie San Andreas premiered in 5/21, it's exactly 96 days after to August 25th. And when the official release date of San Andreas happened in the United States, 5/29 to August 25th, it's 88 days. So this matches 88 and 96 with the movie San Andreas. And we had the 2 largest earthquakes of the year, matching 88 and 96 with The Rock's birthday this year, who was the star in the movie San Andreas. And by the way, August 28th has a big 9/11 connection to his birthday. And I will point out that 9/9 has a big 9/11 connection to the movie San Andreas that's premiere, and it will be the 174th birthday of California. And by the way, San Andreas does also equal 174, so some other possibilities. Maybe aftershocks if we see something happen tomorrow. I will also say that San Andreas earthquake does equal 77 in reduction. Tomorrow's date does add up to 77. The movie San Francisco with Clark Gable will be 32,202 days old on August 25th, the big skull and bones 322 connection. As I always say, I don't just look for 322, I look for 1, 3, multiple 2s is what I usually see when I'm looking at the skull and bones connection. And this movie was all about the big San Francisco earthquake of 1906. The movie Earthquake, it was about a large earthquake that hit California, released November 15th, 1974 to tomorrow, August 25th. 49 years, 284 days. When you look at the square root of that number, it's 222. So this image from the video of Pet Goat looks like it foretells the monkeypox outbreak. Because if you reverse the video right at this point, exact point, Bush does say August in reverse. It's very clear. Then up top you see the evolution of monkeys to man. So August. And by the way, I didn't show it right here, but you guys seen it before, there is a dragon, a green dragon on the blackboard. So we're in the year of the green wooden dragon. So August in the year of the green dragon. Monkeys to man. So big 322 connection again to tomorrow in August 26th is the founding date of Yale. And by the way, Skull and Bones resides at Yale University. And August 25th, with the end date included, will be exactly 322 years, 322 days old. Without the end date to August 26th, we have the same connection, you know. But it also has a big 9/11 connection, 9 years, 11 months after the cube. Remember that, guys, in 2014, they removed a cube from the Georgia Guidestones. By the way, Georgia Guidestones opened on 322, but they removed it and smashed it with a hammer on September 25th, 2014. And we have a big 9/11 connection with that to the 25th and 26th, because it will be 9 years, 11 months, 1 day on the 26th. And earlier this year, we had the president of Iran killed in a helicopter crash. Like, you know, Kobe killed in a helicopter crash. That happened on May 19th, and that had a connection to Yale. The 322 connection, because that was exactly 322 years, 223 days after Yale was founded. But not only that, it was the anniversary that William Huntington Russell died. And he was one of the main founders of Skull and Bones. He died on May 19th. So, May 19th, 1885 to May 19th, 2024, the date that the president of Iran was killed, 139 years. And he was born on the 139th day. By the way, on 9/11, we had a big Skull and Bones ritual because we had George Bush in office when 9/11 happened. And we have a big 9/11 connection with the birth date of William Russell to 9/11. If you look at the dates in reverse, we got this big 9/11 connection with his birth date. So I want to talk about the number 81 and get into some more connections with Golden Gate Bridge in the next slide, which equals 81. But before I do, look at all these connections that we had with the number 81. Looking back last year in 88, we had the Maui fires. That was 81 years, 8 months, 1 day after the bombing of Pearl Harbor by Japan, and Japan's country code is 81, right? And Hawaii's area code is 808, and that happened on 8/8. And I also talked about the calm before the storm, Trump, when he made the statement on October 5th, 2017, and how that equaled 81, as well as other different numbers and the connections with that and hurricanes, multiple hurricanes connecting to that statement. I said, watch July 5th. You know, I said, maybe we're going to see a hurricane make landfall. I said this before a hurricane even formed, or a storm even formed in the Atlantic. And Hurricane Beryl made landfall in Mexico exactly 81 months after Trump's calm before the storm statement. It was also 81 days after Trump's trial began, you know, having to do with Stormy Daniels and all that. And by the way, this date, 4/15, the day that his trial began, the Golden Gate Bridge was shut down due to protest. And I actually made a video talking about San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge, and to watch that date. And we had that interesting event happen. So we also had the connection with Biden. Joe Biden equals 81. And he dropped out of the race 81 years, 8 months, 1 day after his birth. The exact same connection with Joe Biden's birth, dropping out of the race, and the bombing of Pearl Harbor to Hawaii with the Maui fires. So, exact same 81 connection. 81 years, 8 months, 1 day. So, back on July 30th, we had Congo declaring the monkeypox outbreak. That's when they said this year's outbreak began, officially declared, right? On July 30th, 2024. And that date equals 81. The World Health Organization, as I said before, declared a public health emergency for monkeypox, and that's 8/1 on the Julian calendar. By the way, future date, this is the official Day of the Dead date. This date is shown in iPet Goat, but it's November 2nd, and that's 8/1 on the Jewish calendar. Well, the date isn't shown, but they show Baron Samedi in my iPet Goat, and he represents the Day of the Dead. So going back to the Golden Gate Bridge, we had one of the main designers, Leon Moisef. Not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but he was also one of the main designers of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, which collapsed on November 7th, 1940. Actually, he was the main designer of this bridge, and it collapsed. As I said, Golden Gate Bridge equals 81. September 3rd is another date that's very interesting because it's exactly 81 years after Moisef died. It's also 8/1 on the Chinese calendar and 81 days after Trump's birthday. And by the way, the Golden Gate was completed on April 19th. 419 and 419 is the 81st prime. And it just so happens that it took 223 weeks, Skull and Bones number, to complete. Construction started on January 9th, 1933 to this date here. So I'm looking at multiple possibilities, and this shows why it's very difficult to predict a specific event on a specific date. Because we're also looking at 1 year exactly after the monkeypox was declared a public health emergency. Because exactly 1 year after, on 8/14, again, which is 8/1 on the Julian calendar, it's 32,222 days, with the end date included, after the Golden Gate Bridge opened. And it's also 119 years, 119 days after the big San Francisco earthquake of 1906 with the end date. That's also 8 months, 1 day prior to when San Francisco was incorporated on April 15th. So all these dates, they may be important, but not necessarily all having to do with the Golden Gate. Maybe something related or something else. But we're going to watch all the dates that I talked about. September 3rd, tomorrow's date, August 25th. This date next year, in 2025. But maybe we also have an event related to this in the year of the monkey. Because Golden Gate Bridge, as I said in reduction, equals 81. Golden Gate Bridge collapse equals 110. How about 419 being the 81st prime, and on 419 in a leap year, it's the 110th day of the year. So that would also make a prime date for something happening to the Golden Gate Bridge. And the year of the monkey is a leap year. And it's also exactly 33 years after the Oklahoma City bombing. It's also 91 years after the Golden Gate Bridge was completed. And it's also 122 years, with the end date included, after the big San Francisco earthquake, matching the coordinates of San Francisco, 122 west. And so far this year, in 2024, we had a lot of tension between Israel and Iran. And you know the birth date of Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, was born on 419, the 81st prime, right? And when you look at exactly his birth date, it adds to 81. He also has a certificate date for his birthday. So it shows an actual date and certificate date. Well, once you know it, both dates add to 81. Not a coincidence. So the last slide that I want to show you is Obama looking down at the split apple, the lotus flower blooming out of the apple, and Kamala Harris. Kamala means lotus flower, right? And why I'm looking at maybe something happening on the 26th, like with the stock market dropping. Is this what this is showing possibly? Because the letter V on Obama's forehead, we have the fifth Roman numeral. V is the fifth Roman numeral. V is the 22nd letter. This is 22 days after Obama's birthday. So I showed you guys the skull and bones connections to Yale, the 25th, the 26th. It's also 522 on the Jewish calendar, matching the V, the fifth Roman numeral, 22nd letter again. And it also matches this scene because back on September 29, 2000, Apple stock dropped 50%, split in half, right? And if you do the date reversal thing, 826 to 929 over here, it's exactly 8,800 days. So we're going to see a big stock market drop because of an earthquake happening in California. By the way, Apple company is located in California. Or are we going to see something happening to Biden? Maybe Kamala Harris becomes president. Something happens to Biden. I think he's going to die this year, which was predicted by Gerald Ford, back in 1989. That's what he said. So that's how he said a woman would become president, the vice president would die, when he answered the question from a little girl. And the Herbert Hoover Library, and Kamala Harris was born on the exact day that he died. And by the way, August 5th, the day that Kamala Harris was voted as the official Democratic nominee, we had this big stock market drop. Japan, its stock market dropped 12%, sending like our market and the world market down as well. But we had this huge drop by Apple as well. The Apple splits before Kamala emerges as president, right? So that would make sense. Another possibility, or maybe something to do with monkeypox, the 25th. They say it goes airborne. I don't know. Or maybe it doesn't drop at all, but we see this connection, and that's a possibility. And we did see some connections with Obama and the earlier monkeypox outbreak in 2022, because the first case in the U.S. was May 17th. With the time span after his birth, it was 22,202 days. The V dropping down his forehead, and on Obama's birthday in 2022, the CDC declared a public health emergency. So we also had a stock market crash in 2020. The Dow dropped like 10,000 points in a month, or 30 days, 20 days. And due to a virus, the letter V, and V equals 22, and it began on 2/20/2020. So anyways, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, could be today if I upload this after midnight. But anyways, I will talk to you guys next time, and take care.